We need to start talking about babies and people having babies, and abortion needs to be in there too, of course. But we don't need to keep having people at this rate and fill up the whole world with people. Because, for one thing, we need the trees and we need, you know, pristine areas because it creates oxygen. We need plenty of room to grow food, and that includes growing animals because we need to eat animals to keep strong. And because of all this, we don't need, if you look at how the population has grown over the past couple of centuries, then you can see that we don't need to keep doing this into the future unless we find somewhere else to go, because there won't be enough room, and we need to keep enough room here until we can find somewhere else to go. And by limiting the population, and I don't mean by the law, I mean by creating norms and saying, listen, if you're very, very poor, you should probably not have children because you shouldn't invite people into that pain. Not to mention that you shouldn't invite people into it. It's also true that it's just going to make you more poor because children are very, very expensive. And then you're going to have to watch them suffer, which is going to make you sad. Sex is wonderful and fun, and you should be able to have sex too, but you need to be responsible about it, and that's why we need abortion. If you were not in a position to have a child that can thrive, then you should have an abortion, because if you don't, then your chances of creating a violent, angry, criminal child are higher. And that's how society needs to look at abortion. For God's sakes, women who do not want to have children should not have children. And they shouldn't have sex. Well, that's silly and childish. Of course they're going to have sex. We are driven to do all sorts of unbelievable, look at Sex Island with Bill Clinton, and that's how our sex drive really is. We don't talk about it and bring it out into the open, but we're going to have sex. And if we are, then certain people who don't want children should not have them, and especially people who know this is a horrible environment for a child, because their attitude toward the child is not going to be conducive to its adaptation to society, and they're going to turn out to be violent, angry criminals. And if we start moving towards, listen, really think about having a child, and if you really want one and you're up for the task and your partner is up for the task, then please, at all means do. We need to keep humanity going into the future, but just imagine what kind of society we could eventually create if the vast majority of people didn't have children until they were in a position to support them financially and emotionally. You would have a completely different society, because the angry, violent, the rapists, the murderers, come from these environments where the women shouldn't have had children in that environment anyway. We need to start talking about these things and start being honest and step out of our old morality and see what's real, because really, morality is practical. Morality is important. We all need it, but our morals need to be considered around things that will advance us and not things that hold us back. And if you don't evolve your morality with your society, then you're going to be held back.